Hi, I'm Julie, and this is
Patty.
And we're here on behalf of our business, the Myofascial Experience, and we specialize in myofascial release intensives. And we wanted to be here today to give you a little preview of some of the things that we're working with.
And we always give every client a toolbox, and it's going to have specific exercises and things that you can do on your own to address different issues that you may have, from injuries to pain to traumas in your life. And so we call this, today's episode in a sense will be about kind of a first aid kit. So if you wake up and all of a sudden you've got knee pain and you don't know where it's coming from, we're going to give you a couple of things to work on and just see, can we help at least initially release that pain so you can at least go through your day. So when we address pain, it's a little bit differently than you would maybe in going to a physical therapist or a doctor. And although in Julie's situation, she actually does have a knee injury, and she lacks an ACL and has had meniscus surgery. So sometimes she's going to have discomfort or pain inside this left knee. So here are a couple of different exercises. Usually knee pain is going to derive from your hip or your ankle, which is impacted through your calf. And most of the time it's never your knee. That's the problem. So we're going to give you a couple of really quick MFR, myofascial release exercises to work on to see if maybe we can get some of that discomfort to release for you.
And also later we're going to show you how you can kind of visually assess someone in your, that you know or yourself, and you can kind of visually assess and see where the pain is actually coming from. You might have pain in the knee, but like Patty said, it could be coming from your hip or your ankle, most likely.
So the first one we're going to address is coming through this hip. And a lot of times what will happen is you'll have a little too much internal rotation through this hip, which then is going to turn the knee too far inward. So Julie's going to show you a release of the area here, which is called your iliacus. And when we do ball work or foam roller work, we call it a myofascial sink. We don't roll on the ball or on the foam roller. We're actually going to place the either ball or foam roller in a location, and we're going to hang out there for a good solid 2 to 5 minutes to see if we can get the fascia to release for you. And so Julie's going to show you where to put the ball and how to set yourself up.
You want me to do the pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. I have the thing here. There we go. So you're going to lie on your stomach and put it right in your pocket, where your jean pocket would be. And you're going to slowly roll into it and let yourself slowly sink into the tissue.
So on this one in particular, this is more what they call your TFL area, which impacts both internal and external rotation of that hip. And so we always like to say it's right around the pocket, but just know your position may be somewhere a little bit farther down or up. But we always say, find the spot that's hot, hard, or tender, and sink into it slowly and with just enough pressure. We don't want you going too fast or too deep before your body can actually accept the pressure. And you'll just start feeling it kind of release for you. Then you might be able to sink and get more pressure into it. And also, if you go, I'm not feeling anything, give it a little bit of time, because if the area is really tight, you will not sense it immediately. And we have to give the fascia a minimum of 90 seconds before it's even going to let go. So this isn't something that is 5-10 seconds. We've got to really get in there. And then you may start noticing referral down into where your knee issue is. And that's something we're always trying to assess and try to find out.
And I think also, if you feel the referring into where you have the pain normally, it's good because you know there's a connection. So you want to spend time with it and wait until it lets go.
Because through your entire body, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, is your fascial system. And it spirals. So you're going to have different areas that are connected, all the way from your earlobe all the way to your big toe. And so we're trying to find, in a sense, along that fascial system, what is causing that knee to give you discomfort. So this is one area where we would hit. The next spot would probably be up here into the iliacus.
Right above the hip bone.
Which is just above your hip bone. So she would move the ball up into that location and then sink in there. And that is going to help hopefully release some of that restriction of what's bringing that hip too far into internal rotation. You might also feel this into your low back, which could be a player, into the glute.
And I think, you know, an important thing as the person lying on the ball is to kind of let that ball sink into it, but you'll start to feel like the tissue moving and unwinding. That's the release. And like Patty said, if you don't feel it anymore, it's a good chance that it released. And you move over an inch or ½ inch, and there's another piece of it, and you know that because it's tender, it's hard, or you feel heat.
And that heat is just the fascial system helping to release itself. So it's all good. And you will begin to learn that difference between a therapeutic discomfort and an injurious discomfort. So you will absolutely know the difference, and you can hang with a therapeutic discomfort. When it's injurious, that just means stop and move to something else.
You know, I think another thing to address when you're doing ball work is you're not just putting a ball on there and waiting for it. You actually have to participate in a way, you know, think you want to allow yourself to sink in, but it's really, there's a movement to the tissue. When the tissue releases, it's moving. So really kind of connect into the movement of the tissue releasing. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
It has that aspect with your fascia that as you're trying to stretch something, something is also activated in order for the actual fascia to release. So that movement or elongation of one of your limbs as you're stretching is going to actually create an activation, and then the fascia will let go.
And some people will lie on the balls for 15 minutes, 5 to 15 minutes at a time.
Tell her the story about me, that you find me on the floor.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes I'll be walking through, the house or our treatment space, and I'll see Patty, and she'll be lying there. And I'll say, what's wrong, and, because she looks like she's in a dead position, or she had fallen asleep. And so I was like, what, is everything okay? But she's all doing ball work. You have to spend time on it. And you might look like a dead person on the floor, but let the ball sink in and do its thing.
So I would say the next place that really helps for knee pain, a lot of times what happens is the quad muscle starts becoming restricted in a sense that it's getting pulled away and pulling the knee out of place. So what we like to do is release the quad itself, but I would say the game changer tends to be this area just above, in a sense, your knee, and working the ball across this part where the quad actually starts attaching into this area. And so what it will do is help bring the knee back into placement. So we would just basically take it.
Other knee.
Oh,
Other
I
side.
should
Or
do
turn
my
that
other
way.
side.
Yeah. And I have knee issues, so I always go right above. If I have knee pain, this will be an immediate release for me. It takes the pain away, and you can usually feel that referring into the knee.
So I have it just above my kneecap, and
Okay.
I'm just putting the pressure down into it. But I also, if I want to make it more active, I'm going to move and bring my foot up into the air like this.
It shortens the quad and allows you to get in there a little deeper, and it just feels differently. So doing it with your leg straight and your leg bent, doing it both ways, so you access the tissue differently in different positions.
And if you're noticing your quads are extremely tight, you can actually just continue to roll the ball a little bit farther up the quad and hang out with it here, and just work the entire quad, in a sense, all the way. So this is where I feel mine. This is just, this is intense.
Yeah.
I can feel this. So I know
It's intuitive.
this is a spot that I need to hang out with. And you don't have to use a little ball. You could use a foam roller. I always suggest one leg at a time with a foam roller so that you can allow the rest of your body to just relax in place. And then I can roll this and work this entire quad all the way up to where it connects into the hip. And this tends to be a really big player for knee pain, is this upper part of the quad closer to the outside part of the quad, because it plays into flexion of your pelvis.
Well, and also, most people have tight quads because when they're standing, their shoes are made where the heel is a lot higher than the front of the forefoot of the shoe. And so it pushes you forward. So people are always standing in their quads. So you got to release those quads. They're most always overactive in most people.
And I would say the last place for our knee issue, and again, this is just a beginning kind of first aid toolkit. We normally will put together for each client their own custom toolbox for their specific purpose. So even if you have a knee issue, you may not necessarily have all of these in your toolbox, but we're giving you ideas to try out. And the last area impacting knees that we're going to talk about is your calf. And more likely, it's going to be this outside part of the calf. So we would just place the ball here. And if you want for extra pressure, you can put your other foot on top. And again, you're just going to kind of go searching through here and go, oh yeah, there I found my spot. And I'm just going to hang out here. I'm not going to roll back and forth on it. That just warms tissue up. We are really trying to get this fascia to release so that we can retrain your patterns of movement. And so I would just sit here and hang out with it here in my calf. And if I go, okay, I've been here for a couple of minutes and I'm not noticing any more tension, I'm going to move my ball down. I might move it more into the middle. I'm looking, I'm searching, and there you go. I found my spot. And I'm just going to hang out with it here in my calf.
For how long?
I'm going to stay here, and I can feel this spot. So it could take me 3 minutes. I could be here 5 minutes if I've got the time, and I'm just going to sit here with this.
So it might be that you take, if you have, say, 20 minutes to do some work, you might spend some time in your calf, some time, 10 minutes in your calf, or 7 minutes in your calf, 7 minutes in your quad. And then would you do maybe some feet work or hamstring release?
Yeah, if I have the time, I would move to the top arch on my foot, which runs across this part of my foot, to see if by opening that up, that it helps bring my ankle a little bit more into alignment in case that's my issue. I can also get my ball all the way down into my Achilles here if that is my issue. So it really is about just go take your ball and explore your body, because you're going to find places that you might be hot, hard, or tender that you had no idea were bothering you, because they become so tight that you've, in a sense, lost connection to them. So I really recommend your balls, your foam rollers. Go lose yourself in yourself with them. And as long as you move slowly and you are intentional with it, you're never going to hurt yourself, ever.
You'll never injure yourself.
Ever. So I think that's a really good start. Somebody who's got some knee issues and they want to try to see if they can at least resolve some of the discomfort. And if you would like to have your own toolbox drawn up for you, reach out. We can do it over internet and an online scenario. If you're not up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, we can work with you online.
Thank you for tuning in to the Myofascial Experience. Patty and I love this work, and we hope you come back and tune in again.